Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. I apologize for yesterday's live stream. My internet went out while I was right in the middle of my live stream. That's why I did not come back and I could not shut it down, you know? So it didn't come back until close to midnight. That's when my Comcast came back. By then, I wasn't gonna come back online, so I said I would make an announcement today about it because I've already had this one scheduled. So that is what happened, you know? So I might redo it and hopefully it won't go out again. Maybe a little later this evening, I might, have a do-over and that way I can get the whole thing done. So if you were wondering what happened, that's what happened. So anyway, here we are. And online, you got the AKA Siberian immigrants, natives on the reservations that are claiming they invented soul food. And you got white people also saying the same thing. They invented and created soul food. Now, I find that very interesting, y'all. Where are there soul food restaurants? How come we don't see these white soul food restaurants and these Siberian immigrant pretendian soul food restaurants in anywhere in the US? Do any of you know where these restaurants are since they created soul food? I see our restaurants around the country that are soul food, but I sure don't see theirs. And white America, where's your soul food dinners at your white churches? Our churches serve those dinners, especially after church service. You can get a plate and it's got soul food on it. How come your white churches don't do that? Y'all don't serve any soul food after your services? I'm just asking questions. And what soul food are y'all cooking? And how come we don't know about this, all these great soul food dishes that y'all putting out? How come we don't see nor do we hear about these things? But this is the claim they're making, y'all. For somebody that are the creators of soul food, they're sure elusive about the whole thing, aren't they? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen. I got some videos that I want you to see, and it's a mixture of our people and, these folks that are making these claims. And it's very interesting how anything we do, others always want to make claim to it. But anything they got in their culture, they make sure we can't claim it. I just find that very interesting. And I know why they do it, because they still look at us as the slave class. So if you are the slave class, then they can pick away anything they feel like picking away from you. But see, we are not those same people. You would have gotten away with that decades ago. We are a whole different people. And see, that's why they hate that we're delineating, because it makes it very difficult for them to keep stealing our stuff. Is just becoming a lot more difficult. And I say we should never make it easy for them. Oh yeah, well, potato salad Johnny with raisins, is that their soul food? Potato salad with raisins. Mm-mm-mm. And y'all, and how come you pretendians have your powwows? How come y'all don't serve any soul food after your powwows? Because y'all have them, because they have them here in New Jersey. And I know you have them in other parts of the country. Y'all will every now and then advertise you're going to have a powwow and y'all be out there all dressed up and dancing. Where's your soul food at those events? I haven't seen no soul food served at any of those events. Haven't heard about. And look, I went to school with some people that would go to some of those powwows. I never heard one living soul say they serve soul food at the powwow. I'm just saying, ain't seen it yet. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. Mhm. But, one thing, white people did provide the scraps they didn't wanna eat during slavery. They would do that, give the scraps they didn't want and just give them to the slaves, any leftover scraps, and that's where a lot of our dishes came from. Things didn't always go together, but our folks made it go together or made a dish that became famous from the scraps they were using and putting together with vegetables or we did the best that we could with what we had. Now I can see it coming from that, but y'all created it? Okay. I guess we won't have to worry about you Siberian immigrants that much longer because Donald Trump sure wants your butts out of here. All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. All right, give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Give me a 1 if you could see my screen. Thank you.
And the same thing could be said about Mexican food. So what's your point? I really wasn't even going to go back and forth with this comment, but you got your relatives all in the comment section defending you, which I think is so cute that I hurt your feelings that your relatives have to come and speak for you. I think that's so cute. But overall, I really just want people who are scrolling on TikTok to really see what is happening right in front of them. Because people love to say, oh, Black Americans don't have roots in America. They're not indigenous. They don't have any indigenous roots. They don't have any knowledge about indigenous cultures. But yet that y'all don't even know that soul food is rooted in indigenous culture. And the fact that y'all trying to sit here and say, oh, well, it has European and African influences. So does Mexican food. African food has indigenous influences too. And yet no one's not talking about that. And let me be clear, indigenous American influences in African food, if you're confused. And your relatives trying to talk about what clan I'm from and how I can't speak Choctaw, but yet these folks don't even know that gumbo comes from Choctaw Nation. The people that y'all steady try to sit here and claim to be Black and Pretendians are literally carrying the culture that y'all refuse to acknowledge. I can't believe the amount of Choctaw people in my comic section talking about, oh, well, we didn't create gumbo. We didn't do this. And like, you don't know. You don't know. You don't know. There are technically two different versions of gumbo. And yet the American Indian version, the Choctaw version, is the earliest one. And it was here before the colonial period. And yet y'all don't know that, but steady in my comic section trying to talk down on Black Americans having an indigenous ancestry and those who are disconnected from their ancestry. So I don't want to hear all that bussy popping and yapping in my comic section when I call you a mixed white person, because that's literally who you act. You act like a colonizer who has mixed heritage. Somehow people want to sit here and call us African, call us Pretendian, all these different names when we acknowledge our indigenous heritage. But when we call you a mixed white person, then all of a sudden now y'all want to cry, now y'all want to complain, now y'all want to sit here and say that we discriminating, like you wasn't discriminating against us because we are darker skinned and a lot of us are categorized as Black. Like many indigenous people, indigenous American people weren't classified as Black, colored, and Negro to begin with. And since we on this topic too, there are plenty of indigenous people, when they were being pushed out of their homelands, being classified as Black or Negro because they didn't want to deal with the system. They didn't want to go on reservations. Be it here y'all are talking about DNA tests, tribal ID cards. Like that has nothing to do with indigenous identity. Like decolonize your mind. There were East Indians and American Indians being labeled as Black, colored, and Negro. But I don't hear y'all talking about that though. Like everybody want to talk about being indigenous, but don't even know the culture, don't even know the history. And supposedly y'all are supposed to be engulfed in the traditions and the cultures. Y'all supposed to be enrolled in these tribes and these nations, but don't even know your own culture. Like get it together.
This is soul food, and not only is it delicious, but when it was introduced in the 1950s, it also served as a way to unify the Black community. Moving beyond terms like Southern and down home, it instead fostered a sense of Black solidarity. Dishes like neck bones and chitlins and turnip greens became icons of the Black community. See, soul food wasn't just about eating. It was a political act, a way of connecting us to our history. The Black church also served a vital role with community meals, reinforcing belonging and showcasing culinary skills. Black entrepreneurs would open up restaurants and publish cookbooks, and schools responded by adding soul food items to their menu. It was like every bite was a form of edible Black power, cementing its place within the Black community.
On today's episode of Cultural Delusion, the Native Americans helped us make soul food. Okay, wait a minute. Let me put on my thinking glasses because these actually help me come to better conclusions. Okay, so if I had to think about the logistics of this, number one, so we just come into the realization that Native Americans actually own slaves too. Okay, that's the first part. So then you mean to tell me that a slave owner went in the kitchen with them and helped them cook their food? That don't even sound right. The math not mathing on the logisticals on that. Y'all came in the kitchen with us and helped us cook. What was the dish? Quickly. What was the dish? What did y'all help us make? What did y'all help us make? The seasonings that we use is not even in alignment with the seasonings that y'all use. And see, that's where, I let people have their talking points. Okay, cool. Y'all helped us make soul food. Did y'all teach a class? Was it an ebook? I'm trying to understand. And then when people be so gung-ho on fighting, they fight in the comments. I say things like, you just cite your source on that? Can we get that in APA format? That'd be like, what you mean in APA format? You don't know? Yeah! And see, that's... Yeah. You cite your source? Where you get that from? I just want to know. I want to be as informed as you are. Where you get that from? You got it from here? Don't get nothing else from there. Just scrap all of that. The logisticals, again, the math on the logisticals is not... Native Americans helped us make soul food. You got it, big dog.
So if y'all gave us cornbread, why do we do it better than y'all? Why do we make Johnny cakes and hush puppies better than y'all? Why do we make corn pudding better than y'all? Why do we eat more foods that contain corn, like frying fish and cornmeal and different things like that than y'all? We don't just take a piece of salmon and then just half cook it and then serve it with some rice and some unpeeled shrimp. Where did that come from? That didn't come from America. Usually, you when people create something like the Italians have pizza, nobody does pizza better than the Italians or pasta. You're not going to outdo an Italian at their own food. Just like your ancestors that made fun and chow mein and stuff like that. Like, you're not going to go over there and do it better, or Mongolian beef. You're not going to do it better than the Mongolians. So, um, I hear these claims like, "Oh, we created basketball." So where are y'all folks in the NBA?
Someone said Native American food is soul food. We got greens from them. Soul food comes from the indigenous. All this shit is ours. Soul.
Yo, bro, country white folks invented soul food. Oh, you are absolutely correct. Y'all gave us food that y'all discarded and didn't want. And by us getting this food that y'all discarded and didn't want, we had to find some type of way to make it good. So we whipped up our special. And, I guess if that's what you mean, or maybe you're just greatly misinformed.
I've never even heard of what soul food.
You don't even know. You don't know what soul food is.
In the South, some of the foods and stuff was like the leftovers and not maybe the best cuts of meat and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, like an oxtail. If you look at an oxtail, there's not a lot of meat on that thing and stuff, so it would be thrown to the wayside. So, like, the servants would get a hold of it, and they learned how to make it into a delicacy so it tastes good. So now that's what soul food kind of basically has come down to.
Yeah, that's why they ate stuff like pig brains, chitlins, neck bones.
The less desirable cuts of meat.
Yeah.
All right, so I got to tell you about this time when a white lady made me and my black friend some collard greens. So we used to do sound engineering for this blues band, and one of the guys, he's a black dude, had a white wife. And long story short, we go to their house, and I'm thinking like, oh, she's getting down because she's making some soul food. So I go in the kitchen and I'm stirring, the pot of collard greens. And I'm stirring and stirring for like a long time. And finally, my friend was like, when are you going to get the greens out? Like, hurry up, I'm hungry. And I was like, well, I'm looking for like a hog mog or like a turkey wing or like a hog snout, something. She didn't put none of that in there, right? And so we look and the water is black. So she must not have washed the greens. And then I'll pull out one big, large green that hadn't been de-stemmed, nothing. It just had all the stems. And so I get a piece of hot water cornbread. We didn't feel right about this whole thing. So I said, let's go out in the back. Nobody was around. And I took the hot water cornbread and I threw it and it just bounced off the ground. So white people, no shade. But if you're going to make some soul food, consult with the right black people.
All right, I'm just filling out my crock pot with our collard greens. I'm going to fit as much as I can, but I think a bag and a half is going to be all we're going to get. They will shrink a lot though. With our collard greens, I'm going to bring in my turkey breast, and we're just going to kind of put that right into our crock pot with those greens. Oh my goodness. This was a 2-pound turkey breast that I got pre-cooked from the grocery store. Obviously, you can use your own cooked turkey if you prefer. All right, so this is going to be filled up to the top, but like I said, those greens will shrink. So we're going to add 2 onions that I diced up right on top of that turkey. Oh my goodness, this is my favorite take on an easy Southern dish. Next, I'm coming in with some garlic because you guys know I can't do anything without a little bit of garlic. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of garlic because we really want to be able to taste that. You can use fresh if you prefer, but this is just so much easier. Now for seasonings, we're going to keep it simple. We have our Creole seasoning. How do you say it? Creole. And we are going to sprinkle that right on there. Be careful. It will get up your nose and make you sneeze.
I'm going to sneeze on
All right. We added a hefty amount of that seasoning in there. It's going to be delicious. Now I'm going to grab my 14 ounces of chicken broth. You can use water if you don't want to use chicken broth, but I just think the broth adds a good flavor. Perfect.
Smells delicious, man.
Oh yeah. And the last thing we're going to add is 1 stick of butter. Now you can use olive oil if you don't want, to use butter, but I personally think the butter makes it taste 10 times better. So I'm going with it. And we're going to add this whole stick right on top. It'll melt and it'll just be perfect. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this up. And then we're going to pop this on high and let those collard greens cook. All right, it's been an hour and a half on high. Woo! It smells so good, you guys. It's time to give this a mix. Oh my goodness. Okay, they're not ready yet, but we do want to make sure to give this a good mix so that they don't burn. This looks so good though. That looks like it's mixed perfectly. Let's go ahead and put this lid back on for another hour and a half.
Action.
All right, it's been 3 hours on high. Let's pop these on warm and check it out. Our southern collard greens. Oh my goodness, look how juicy and moist this looks. Oh, I do think I added too much turkey for the amount of greens that we made, but you know what? A little meat never hurt anybody. Okay, let's go ahead and serve this up. This would be great for Thanksgiving, great for Christmas, great for whatever you want to make it for. It's honestly good year round. It's collard greens. What's not to love?
Yeah, right.
Oh, I am so excited to try this. Okay, get a little bit of the greens, a little bit of the turkey, and we have the perfect bite.
Is it good?
These are absolutely incredible.
Y'all see that mess? How the hell did you create soul food and you don't know how to make soul food? Okay. I mean, first of all, when I saw that big old bowl of meat, I was like, that is way, way too much meat. It's more meat than greens. You don't make greens like that. She put more meat in it than she had greens. And then on top of that, she didn't even wash the shit. She opened up the bags and put them directly into the slow cooker. She didn't wash nary thing. Oh, man. Oh, man. And then, like I said, she had that giant bowl of onions and giant bowl of meat. I said, well, shoot, you just drowned out the greens. Where's the greens? She's, oh, this is so good. You don't make greens like that, girl. Please. There ain't no way y'all invented some soul food and you don't even know how to cook soul food. Come on. You damn right. I would eat nothing at her house. After watching the way she cooked, I wouldn't eat nothing at her house. And I bet you she does that with everything. I bet every dime in my wallet, if we watched the way she prepared chicken or anything, she probably just take it right out the package and into the pan. I bet you she does that. No washing, no nothing. She just take it and throw it in there and start cooking. Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of times people, especially our people, will use those smoked turkey legs or a smoked turkey wings, and we'll put that in. But she literally had a bowl of chopped up chicken breasts. And like I said, it was more, and when I saw her put it in there, I knew it was too much because that was bigger than the amount of greens she put in there. And then she came with that huge bowl of chopped up onions. And I was like, even the onions are more than the greens. Damn. Damn. She's standing there running her mouth like she really doing something. Like, girl, please. Yeah, and put a whole stick of butter up in there. And just threw it right on top, a big old stick of butter, and didn't put no seasoning on the greens underneath. You know, it was bad enough you put it in there unwashed and then you didn't season shit. Wow. That is really sad. And you know, the worst part, she thinks she did something great. She- wow. All I got to say is black women are definitely much cleaner in the kitchen. Our women are much cleaner in the kitchen. These women are filthy. They don't even wash nothing. They don't wash none of their food. So, as I stated before, if y'all are the creators of soul food, I just don't see you out here like that. Where are your restaurants? I wouldn't go after watching this woman cook. I wouldn't go even if you had those restaurants out here. Mhm. That's something. It is unbelievable. Everybody want to claim our stuff, y'all. Everybody. Everybody wants to claim our stuff. Yeah, she murdered those greens. She murdered her. She murdered the greens. Mhm. Yeah, well, I tell you what, she ain't big on seasonings. That's for sure. And the sad part is when she picked up one of the seasonings, somebody in the background had to tell her how to pronounce the seasoning. No, that don't sound like that's something that you do all the time. That's all I'm saying. Mhm. That's right up there, y'all. Back when I had my dog for 19 years, right? I remember one time I was watching a video and this woman had a similar dog, just like mine. Do you know what she said on that video? Now, I used to give my dog a bath every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks, I would put him in the tub or even in the shower and just wash him down real good and give him a good grooming, right? This was a white woman, had a dog like mine, same breed. You know what she said on the video? She only washed him every 6 months. I was like, how the hell do you have a dog in your house and you don't bathe it for 6 straight months? She said she gave the dog a bath once every 6 months. Can you just imagine how that house must have smelled? Ooh, can you imagine how that house smelled once every 6 months? And I did mine once every 3 weeks. And you know what some of them told me in the comment section? That I was washing my dog too much. I said, "I don't care. He's getting a bath every 3 weeks. One thing you didn't do was walk in my house and smell the dog." That everybody used to say that when they came in my house. They would see my dog and said, "I don't even smell a dog in here." No, because I washed his ass every 3 weeks. Okay, yeah, that's why you didn't smell him. And I did that for the whole 19 years I had him. But I was almost floored when that woman said that. She only bathed her dog once every 6 months. I was too through. That's what they told me, Elena. They said me washing my dog every 3 weeks was too much. I was washing him too much. I didn't care. He was in good shape. His coat was in good shape. He didn't have any fleas or ticks, and he was fine. He was healthy for those 19 years, and his coat and skin was healthy too. But yes, that's what they told me. They said I was washing my dog too much. Oh, man. Hey, he stayed clean. He was clean. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, he got a bath and he was fine with his bath and he looked good. But Yeah, I could not imagine. I haven't gotten another dog. I got my cat now, but I cannot imagine getting a dog and having that dog in my home and not bathing it for a whole straight 6 months, but this is what they were saying to me. Of course, it was not our people, y'all. It was them folks telling me this. It was not our people, so I had to take that into account. Mm-mm-mm. Wow. But y'all, thank you for being here. Black Scuba Queen, thank you for the super chat. This is why I don't do potluck, nothing at work. You know what? I was the same way, Black Scuba Queen. I hear what you're saying. When these folks would bring dishes to work, I would not eat them, y'all. I would not eat their dish. And sometimes I'm not going to lie to you. I would lie to them just to get them from bothering me over it. They'll say, "Oh my goodness, so and so brought a casserole and did you try some?" Yeah, I had a little and I didn't have none of that shit. I just didn't want them all in my face pestering me about trying their dishes, and I wouldn't have none. And they wouldn't know anyway. They don't know who walked up and got some or not because it was so many people in the office. And I would just lie. Yeah, I had a little bit. Yep. And I wouldn't have none, y'all. I wouldn't have none. Uh-uh. I will never forget this one woman brought in this peanut butter bread. I never seen nothing. In other words, she baked bread and put the peanut butter in the bread and baked it in the bread. Y'all, that bread looked so dry and hard. I was like, are you kidding me? Y'all, I watch people slice a piece of the bread, put it in their mouth, and spit it right out. They said it was horrible. And I was like, peanut butter bread? Peanut butter bread? I mean, y'all, I saw some weird ass shit in that office that these folks would bring in. I wouldn't eat that shit even if they held me at gunpoint. I wasn't going to eat that mess. I'm serious. Mm-mm. But everybody that ate that peanut butter bread ended up spitting it out in the trash. It was that nasty. I didn't even try it because it didn't sound appealing to me. I don't need to eat no bread with peanut butter baked into it. If I want peanut butter, I know how to spread it on there myself. But I will, and then another woman, y'all, brought a dry cake to work. And I looked at that cake and people was like, "Why is this cake so dry?" And I had to look at it for a while, but I figured out why it was. Girlfriend made the cake with water. Girl made the cake. I said, "Girl, you don't make no cake with no water." I said, "That's why the cake is all dry and rough." That cake was, I never seen nobody bake a dry cake like that. She didn't use milk. She used water to bake her cake. And I said, "I know you ain't no sister." Sister would never have baked no whole cake with a bunch of water like that. Girl used a bunch of water to bake her cake. And the stuff was like cardboard. I kid you not. And she brought that stuff into the job to serve the people. I didn't touch that cake. Everybody that was eating it was like, "Why is this cake so rough?" I said, "See, that's why I don't eat y'all stuff. Mm-mm. I do not eat y'all stuff." Okay. I do not eat y'all stuff. And in y'all, one time we had a pet day at work. Everybody brought in, they allowed everybody to bring their dog to the job. So I brought my dog in, but I only had him up there until my lunch. When I had my lunch break, I drove him back home. So anyway, let me just put it this way. Every brother and sister in the office that brought their dogs in, Their dogs were very clean and their dogs were well mannered. I kid you not. One of the brothers brought his Doberman Pinscher in. That dog was so well behaved. I said, see, a brother gonna make that dog respect him. That's one thing about our brothers. When our men got dogs, they gonna make that damn pet respect them. And because I know when I was growing up, we had a border collie. My dad made that dog mind him. That dog did not railroad anybody in our house. It was not allowed. And that's one thing I notice about our brothers. When they got dogs, they don't let them dogs disrespect them. They will put them dogs in check. And he had a big Doberman, and that dog was so well behaved in the office. You would not have even known he was there. He was quiet. He was not barking. He wasn't doing any of that stuff. He was well behaved. And there were other, a few of the sisters brought their pets in. Every one of our pets were well behaved. Guess who had the dogs that were wild and out of control? Just take a guess. Just take a guess at who dogs were not in check. You know? No, that's one thing I can even say to this very day. The men that have dogs around me, those dogs are all well behaved. There's a man that lives up the street from me. He got 2 pit bulls. When he walked them pit bulls, they do not drag that man. They walk right alongside with him. And I said, that's one thing about our men. Our men ain't gonna take no wild beast standard. You gonna beat that dog into submission. What our men will do. They ain't gonna have no dog disrespecting them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I see him walking his dog. He comes past my house all the time with them 2 pit bulls. And now one of them dogs drag him. Now there's another woman on the street. She's one of them folks, right? She got a shepherd. You know that dog drag her ass up and down the street. I'm just looking out there. That dog is like 3, 4 paces ahead of her, dragging her. Literally dragging her. And the brother with the 2 pit bulls, them dogs walk right with them. They walk right with them. And even if there's other dogs on the street, those dogs don't go dashing after them. They stay right with him. He really got them dogs very well trained. Yeah, I've seen brothers with those big cane corsos, and those dogs do not go out of control on them brothers. Yeah, I knew a guy, he had a black one. It was beautiful. He had a cane corso. That dog did not drag him even when he walked. That was a big dog too. But that dog did the same thing. It walked right alongside of him. It didn't drag him at all. Yeah. So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. And we're going to come back because in Dearborn, Michigan, they are having big ice raids there. And if you're familiar with Dearborn, Dearborn probably have one of the biggest Arab communities in the country in that one location. There's a lot of Arabs that live in Dearborn. And some of them are not Arabs, but they are from the Middle East, like they're Iranian, because those are Persians, and they live there too. And it's been a lot of ice raids going on in Dearborn as well. So y'all, I hope to see you then, but be on the lookout for my live streams. And like I said, I might do the one from last night over again because my Comcast went out. That's why I was not able to finish that. Oh, you'll see it posted. You'll see it posted more than likely like around 2:45 I will be doing the next live stream, and that's on the Arabs being deported from Dearborn. All right, y'all. I will see you then. Shalom, family.